Madelyn Burke is in the building. Good morning, girl.
Good morning. Happy to be here. Happy to be joining you guys on this Monday, although wishing it was under a little bit different circumstances after that game last night.
You and me both. I mean, let's start on some positives or sort of positives. I guess the Giants did win their last game, did beat the Dallas Cowboys, even though the ending was almost catastrophic. Take me back to those last few minutes with the fumble that almost was and the challenge that almost was and all this craziness surrounding the end of the Giants-Cowboys last night.
There was so much craziness. First of all, that Pettis catch, when you look at that on the replay, everyone's like, that wasn't a catch. But Dallas apparently didn't see that or what have you. They didn't call for it, and that was fortunate for the Giants. Then the Gallman fumble, where that man did a full split landing on the ball, and that was the photo that was caught. But he did regain full possession of that ball, and it had a lot of people scared because, you know, Xavier McKinney coming up with that huge interception in the end zone. And then, as Joe Judge said after the game, he's like, hey, all I thought was do not leave the end zone. And he had the presence of mind enough to say, you know what, I'm going to stay here, take a knee, and get the touchback with this pick and put the Giants in a great position. Under 2 minutes left in the game. They got the ball. The Gallman fumble-ish situation had everyone holding their breaths, but he came up with the ball. The Giants were able to assume the victory formation and come away with the W. Ending the streak, too, because the Cowboys had won the last 7 games between these two teams. And as much as people will say, oh, yeah, well, history doesn't mean much, it's the NFC East. There's so much history in these rivalries. It means something to beat your rival.
Well, I guess the next addition to the history of these rivalries is now probably between the Giants and the Eagles. The Giants did what they could do in terms of controlling their fate, and then the Eagles, by all intents and purposes, tanked on purpose. I mean, what was that like for you watching us closely affiliated to the Giants? Jeez, Cass.
Honestly, we were all watching this together at this point. And, you know, if you're on Twitter last night, you're seeing half the Giants roster reacting in real time to when they put Nate Sudfeld in. And, you know, Darius Slayton's like, why on God's green earth is Jalen Hurts not in the game? And I understand they're saying, you know what, we want to evaluate talent. We want to see what we've got. But Sudfeld's been on this roster since 2017. They got to know what this man can do at this point. When you got Hurts, a guy who's coming in, who's getting his bearings as a quarterback, you want to be able to see what this young quarterback can do in a situation, in a close division game. I mean, it was a back-and-forth game. They were down by 3 at that point. They sat Hurts on the sideline, and you know, that's got to be something that's bad for this team morale overall as well. I mean, a lot of these guys were tweeting about it too. But I mean, if you look at Seth Joyner, the Hall of Famer from the Eagles, said, I have never been more disappointed to be associated with this franchise than I was after watching that last night, because you're not putting your team in a position to succeed. There's one thing if, you know, you don't have the talent and you're doing the best you can. I mean, Joe Judge said earlier this season, he said, you know what, these guys know who the best 53 guys are on this roster. And it would be it's my job to put the best players on the field to give these guys the best chance to succeed. They're out there every week putting their bodies on the line, you know, going through all of this to give this team a chance to win. And when you're putting them in a position to play with almost a handicap, that's not good for morale. That's not good for the guys who are going to be on this roster, who you're going to ask to go to war for you again next year.
Madelyn, I hope you'd respectfully call Nate by his full name, which is Nate bleeping Sutherfield, for all New Yorkers and Giants fans from now on. Because I still can't believe what I saw yesterday. I'm still trying to get that through my head. But let's move to some sort of positive news. Big Cat Leonard Williams had a breakout season this year. I mean, he came in sort of a not so much ballyhooed trade from the New York Jets just right down the hall in MetLife Stadium. And now he's looking like one of the best players on Big Blue. They got to pay this guy. What are they going to do with Leonard Williams this offseason?
First of all, I love that you use the word ballyhooed, because I haven't heard that one in a minute. But Leonard Williams coming in here.
I'm an old soul,
making
Madelyn.
some noise.
Gotta throw some retro
I
words out
appreciate
there.
it.
I know the audience. I know the market.
Mary
All right.
Lenser over here on this Monday morning. I'm appreciating it. But Leonard Williams, when that trade went down last year, he was in the mix, and he was one of those guys that you would see in the game, and you'd say, you know what, he's amongst it. He's getting in the play, but he wasn't coming up on the stat sheet. He was making a lot of almost plays. He'd almost get to the quarterback. He'd almost mess up the play. This year, he took almost to finishing, and he would finish the play. And he had a career-high 11 and a half sacks on the season. That's 3 more than his previous career high in 2016. He was making some noise. He's also become a leader in this defense. He's definitely earned that paycheck. He bet on himself, taking that $16 million franchise tag to say, you know what, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to prove to you guys that I am the player that you thought I was. But also, got to credit Coach Chaos, Sean Spencer, with this Wild Dogs mentality on this defensive line. He's really brought this D-line together and created this fire and this hunger in these guys. Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, they have been getting after the quarterback. They've been applying pressure. They've been a really strong part of this Giants defense and strong unit. Leonard Williams, though, that man, cut the check. Cut the check.